Today,
It's all mine.
today's the day, team. So we're bringing in the big guns for this one. Not only is he a lot more intelligent than I am, but
I don't know about that, but anyways.
so this is Steven.
The hose.
All right, so what are we doing today?
What are we doing today? We're going to see what is truly wrong with this bike. It has been running like a bag of hammers
You two are just dumber than a bag of hammers.
for the last year. We've got smoke coming out of the right pipe, so it's cylinders 3 and 4 that are smoking. Totally down on power. It starts well, it idles great, and yeah, we got to bring the power back up and the drivability.
So we've torn the carbs apart. We know for sure that number 4 was doing absolutely nothing. Pulled number 4 spark plug out, all sooty, nasty looking. The other 3 looked okay. Then, as I told you over the weekend, AJ and I couldn't keep it in our pants. We had to do the compression test on this, and all of them were destroyed. We're gonna run again right now and show you guys a little compression test one more time, just so y'all can put your peepers on it. But
Test and verify.
we got all the tools back here. We picked up some parts, carb rebuild kit. All 4 of those are getting done. As I stated, anything else for the carbs, diaphragms, any intricate little things, head gaskets, base gaskets, stuff for the engine, we can't find for this. So we're gonna all learn together on how to make those ourselves.
Yep. Make, do, or modify.
There we go.
We're thinking that with the compression down and the smoke issue, that the rings might actually be seized onto the pistons. We can't find rings, so if we can't unseize these and have them seal against the home cylinders, we might have to go to a different plan to see what we can do and see if we can't modify rings out of a Stihl chainsaw or something. I don't know.
Hey, that's what we're talking about. All right, here we go. We're doing 2 rounds here. We're gonna test these puppies dry, and then we're gonna test them wet. Obviously, engine's not hot, so it's gonna be a little bit lower, but it's so far off that it doesn't
the
matter.
difference between the two will tell us a story.
There we go. All right, number 3. Even lower. Right on. Look at that. Jumped right on up to about 40 PSI there.
That's wounded.
Yeah. So talk about inconsistency here.
Yeah, let's wet them.
Tactics have been changed. Oh, there we are.
Got more compression in the spray can than we do in the cylinder. Okay.
All right.
Screw it in, screw it up.
She's lubed. Yes. What's the? Let everybody know why we're doing that. Why do we need it wet? What is wet
We're going
going
to
change?
see where the compression is leaking. The oil will actually seal up some leaks temporarily to test whether or not it's rings. It could be a valve. If it's rings, this will make it higher. If it's a valve, it won't.
Okay, we gained a little. There we go.
So that one went from like 60-ish to 80-ish.
80-ish, yeah.
So
Okay.
we have a ring issue in there, not a valve issue.
Rings, which we like that. Right on.
I think we really have a ring issue with this bike.
Well, luckily for all of you at home, you're about to find out. Baby. Okay. Oh, just sliding.
Got it?
Just sliding.
Got it?
There we are. Can you guys see anything here? All right. So here you got your camshafts. There's your cam chain. So what we are going to need to do here before we pull all of this stuff apart, because this all actually doesn't look atrocious at the moment.
I don't see any sludge.
You know what is funny that I'm seeing? You've at least got some paint wear in here. And on number 4 here, the intake valve looks pretty damn clean. You guys see that? Clean. And then we've got little wears. Now, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just curious. What do we got here? Oh, number 1's doing the same. Number 1 intake. Interesting. We'll see if anything, if that tells us anything at all, or if that just is the way that it be. I do see some kind of bearing ball down in there. Not really sure what that's about. We're not worried about that. That might just be from the road. All right, so now what we're gonna do, before we can pull the head off here, we're gonna have to mark where everything's at. Make it so that when you go to put this back together, you don't really need to think at all. So the cam's indicated on everything, where everything's supposed to go. Take pictures of it, makes your life easier. Now, what I'm gonna do is just take this here paint marker, run it right up the side, right onto the chain. It's just a paint marker, so your engine shouldn't blow because of this. And then we're just gonna do the same thing here. It doesn't matter where it's at, right? As long as your line makes something cohesive. Look, I'm gonna do this one even a little crick just to be weird about it. Hell, why not? I'll throw 2 on here. Now we know. Front's got 1, back's got 2. See what we're doing? Do the same thing on the other side, and now you can take things apart.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Here we go! Out she be! All right!
Holy sh! That doesn't look very nice. I don't really
There
know
is
what I'm talking
no crosshatch here. This should not be shiny.
Let's give you
Here,
guys a
recap.
closer look in here.
The outer ones are the better ones to see.
Well, this one was not actually igniting any fuel, so there's no carbon buildup really there. That thing stopped doing anything quite some time ago. As you can see how nice and clean, I guess this is the intake side, so you're not going to have as much char there. But there's really not much built up on here because number 4 wasn't doing a whole lot. 3's looking a little bit more. Number 2 is real charred up. A lot of buildup on there. Number 1's looking pretty similar. Okay, but as Stephen was saying, let's school some people here. What are we talking about?
Right now, for the rings to create a proper seal, there needs to be what's called a crosshatch, which is lines that are on the cylinder from honing that cross each other, and they fill in the compression and the oil gap when the rings are sealing against them. There is no crosshatch left in this. I see a huge wear mark on the thrust side there.
Now,
And
what do they call that when the cylinder looks like that?
This is glazed. This cylinder is glazed, and that mark right there, if I
Kind
was
of hard
to
for you
guess,
guys to see, but
you can see almost like a smudge right behind my finger.
can you see
And
that?
what I'm going to suggest is when we get the cylinders off, you're going to see a score on the piston because the rings are actually varnished into the piston, and the piston was dragging up and down in this cylinder.
So what he's saying there is the ring is stuck like this. This ring on the cylinder, or on the piston, sorry, should have some spring. But we're thinking that these do not, and they're just sitting like this and just dragging shit around inside the cylinder. Sorry for the hand motion there, ladies, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm just guessing. Once we get this off, we're going to be able to see more. But there's definitely no crosshatch.
And his guesses are generally pretty damn educated. So yeah, we're gonna find out. But it's
marks on the cylinder here that suggest something might have gone through it.
That's fun. One of the butterflies had a nice big notch on it in the carburetor too. So let me suck the bolt through there.
There's not a ring ridges. The piston goes up so far and scrapes all the carbon up. So this black line is the ring ridge. We'll be dealing with that when we hone the cylinder out.
So we'll see if prettying these babies up gives us anything. Stay tuned. Oh, and here's our head gasket, which we cannot get another one of unless we wanted to wait about 2 months. So we're
gonna buff it out.
We're gonna give it a little spit shine, eh? All right, everybody. The big reveal.
The animal has never failed. It is so intimidating.
Here we go. Let's get her off. Maybe. Hopefully.
Pull up a little bit more. That, yeah.
Yep, just right. It only happens when you move your finger into the position that you don't want it in.
This thing ran so poorly, the carbs were so bad with fuel washing down that the cylinders were being washed down, completely glazed the cylinders so that there was no sealing compression wise, because the rings are fine.
Okay, we need to get this all vacuumed up here because we got shit falling down in there pretty readily. But we don't want to continue to do that. So we're going to do that real quick. And it's on to the cylinders. All right, let's see what happens here. There we go. Look at that, we're getting somewhere.
That's a crosshatch.
That's what we're talking about, baby. That. Now let's scoot over one. Just look at the... Are you kidding me right now? Back. We might gain some compression. Decent.
Thought it through, and there ain't nothing that I ain't willing to do.
Now you see what he's doing here. He goes in with it running already, through, and keeps it running. Don't stop. He's gonna keep it running when he pulls out. So there's no weird, janky little burrs and gnars and shit.
I can't find the strength to fight like this no more. I've had all I can take, too much to carry around. I'm tired, weak, and lonely, and I'm ready to lay down.
All right, squadron. So Steven and I got carbs all back together. I feel like you don't need to see that, but if you do need help with any of that, check out Patreon, and we'll lend you a direct line, helping hand. But anyway, carbs back together. We got our block here. That is all honed, seemingly buffed and decent looking. What do you think? Pretty good. We got to clean it out in there, a little dust in there. But Steven had a fun little invention. Just grabbed his sander here, threw the Scotch-Brite pad on, made that a hell of a lot easier. I'm sure there's a lot of actual mechanics out there that would be annoyed with that, but it worked. So we got everything looking pretty, and we'll see if we can get this block back on. Then we're going to clean the heads up, yeah, and just do all of this as cheap and incorrect as possible. So direct from Japan, baby. Straight off the factory. simple as that. Get out of town. That looks unbelievable. Holy hell, everybody. The machinist. Okay, there's number 3. You can see that carbon buildup. That's kind of normal. Number 4, I just wiped it off. Haven't used a scraper. You can see a tiny bit of carbon right in there, but that means that that was basically doing nothing. Just kind of throwing itself around in there for no real reason. Oh, looky, yeah. That's what we want to see. Alright, stay tuned. We'll show you the finished product. Alright, everybody, it has come time to reassemble. So, what we're doing right here is making sure that we have our compression and oil rings in the right positions, because you don't want everything sitting in one spot. It can score the cylinder, can cause compression issues. So you want to make sure these little gaps are in different positions. Now Steven had a good idea to align them all in the same exact positions, and we're using these studs as reference. So instead of the 10 and 2 position, we'll go the old 8 and 4 or whatever have yous on these two, and then throw in the oil ring just heading north. So we're gonna do them all the same, and see if we can't slide this thing back together. All right, we got no gasket, so this is our gasket. RTB.
Run away, I might just run away. I might just leave it all behind and find another day. Tell my man I've done the best I can, and I know loving him means leaving him alone. And I know loving him means leaving him alone.
Alright, so now we got our timing mark in the right position here, top dead center. And then we're just marking these little notches in the correct spot with the cap and the cam itself. And then you're going to do the same thing on the exhaust side. Okay, well, you guys missed everything because I didn't have the camera running, but everything's back together now. And we're going to see what happens with the PSI.
Are we ready?
I guess. Nope. 85. You know it would be a real bummer if this compression tester just isn't reading right because it's 25 bucks.
Well, let's see if they're 85 across the board.
Number 2. This one was 50, so okay. We're showing 85.
I go for uniformity rather than numbers. That cylinder was just
That was
ugly.
50. That was 50 PSI.
Yep.
So we're happy. We have done something there. Okay, that one's clamoring up to 95. That one's at 95 PSI. That one's almost at 100. That one's about 100.
We definitely made an improvement,
We have done something.
and I think that once we have a chance of blowing, we never got a chance to open up the seats and the valves.
That's true.
So if we can just get this thing up in RPMs,
Get it hot. See if we can get something to expand.
well, it definitely
maybe a
needs to
little.
go for a couple of heat cycles.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so where are we now?
We're down to this much fuel line we need, which I had, and then I don't know where I put it. So now we need fuel line. The tank still needs to be cleaned and new petcock put in and all that, but we're too impatient, so we just gotta try this real quick. All right, yep, if we just get a hose clamp, this will work. Yeah, you guys missed some stuff because batteries died. Things happened. It's standard reassembly. Y'all know how to do this shit.
Well, you should know if you took it apart. You should know how to, at this point.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So right now it's the mad dash to hear this thing crank, correct?
Yep, that is exactly the correct.
It's going to smoke.
She lives again!
Last night we fired it up, as you saw there. She was smoky. She was not super happy, but she ran pretty easily. So today we got a couple of procedures we got to do. Number one, that fuel tank. I got to take that thing, clean it out, dump all the old fuel, put the new petcock in, and we'll see if that's all going to function. Next, gonna run this for a minute, get the oil a little warmed up. I'm gonna drain a little bit, and then I'm gonna add some ATF, and that's gonna help do a little detergenting. Maybe clean some of the shit out that's down in the crankcase right now. Drain that, put new oil filter in, new oil. Gonna do a little tampering with the carburetors, and I might take it for a quick burn before that, just see how she runs, and then we can get her top tier after that. While it isn't the ideal setup, it is a setup, so we'll let that stuff kind of drain out of there. And we'll take this little hooker off. She doesn't really work. There's a little bit of RTV around the base of this thing in here, so we'll flip her over and figure out what's really going on in this fuel tank. All right, now what I like to do here, after emptying all that out of there, in case there is a bunch of rust and gunk and everything inside of the tank, don't go sloshing it around and flipping it over and all that after you've drained the fuel, because in theory, if it's sitting on this angle, all of that sediment and everything is going to funnel towards your filter. So keep it down, keep it on that angle, keep everything in that zone, so that when you go to pull your petcock out of here, hopefully all the gunk and shit comes with it. The old fuel filter was nasty, so. But also probably hadn't been changed in 30 years. Come on, you bastard. All right. There it comes, here it comes. All right, what do we have? Okay. Let's see what this nice gelatinous substance is. So it looks like, you can see this here, there's been some RTV and things used before, and that is now just kind of turned into sludge, and that's just gunking our filters up. They're actually not too bad, they're doing their job okay, but this thing has got to go. So we're going out with the old here. This is the fancy one. These things are hard to find. It's a vacuum style petcock here. So we're getting pressure from the intake side of the cylinders telling this thing, give me more fuel, give me more fuel. So this one was not working. The diaphragm's just ratty and dirt and all that kind of fun stuff in there. So hopefully this one will help us out with our delivery. All right, now real quick, I'm gonna show you while this is off, just kind of setting for your stock idle on your air fuel screws here on the front sides of your carbs. You'll see these somewhere. Sometimes they're on the top, sometimes they're on the bottom. You're gonna have a little screw right here, and I've already got these set at 2 turns out, but I'm gonna go 2.5 on these. So how you really would normally do it, screw this all the way in, and it's just gonna lightly seat right at the end. Once it stops moving, leave it there, and just use your screwdriver. Do 1 turn, 2 turns, and a half. And that's a good baseline to start at. And then you're of course gonna need to adjust from there, but 2.5 turns for most carbureted systems will do you well. Everything's kind of sorted out here. Just picked up some oil, ran down to Napa. Got a little ATF I'm gonna drain about a half a quart of oil out of this and then put a half a quart of ATF in. And we're gonna hope that that kind of picks up all the nonsense. There's some detergents and things like that in ATF that hopefully will kind of break everything up, get it warm, and then hopefully we'll stop pumping out so much damn smoke and all that shit. Get it to idle. We'll set our idle on here, just the idle screw. And then once it's warm, we're gonna drain that, put the new oil back in, and fucking burn, baby. Alright, I don't know if y'all saw that, but she is running, baby. Not idling well or anything, got to sink the carbs, but overall, this baby's brand new. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Alright. The last day ended on us, and now it's the day after that. So, got pretty annoyed last night with this thing. Carbs just not right. The cylinders and everything, heads seem to be great. Carbs will just not do what we want them to. So, we figured, since we're getting over fueling, why not just put less restriction on it, right? Add more air. Pulled the mufflers off, baffled to hell, so those were definitely creating some restriction. Now, I'm trying to take the air box out, just gonna put some pod filters on it, and I'm gonna redo these carbs again to see if I can get them synced properly. It's a common thing with these things, and they're really finicky, so we're gonna try and get those back properly and just create some more airflow and see if we can get it to just sit somewhere. Funny enough though, with these bikes, in the 80s they were thinking more about the engineering than they were about the mechanical work as per usual. So I actually took the starter motor out just to get this damn air box off. So I'm going to do all that nonsense, and then we'll reconvene on these carbs here and see what we can figure out. I don't know, but I ain't quitting. This one is a first for me. So I bought this rebuild kit on Amazon. Maybe should have saw this coming, but my air fuel mixture screw on both of these carburetors, the tip actually broke off inside the throttle body. That could be the majority of our problem. Oh! Whoa. What have we got going on? You guys might be asking yourselves what's happening out here, but we figured instead of buying exhausts, since we just need something straight pipe, we'd make them. So we did the old cut job on here. Now Morgy's is trying to jackhammer the inside of the baffle out, but we don't really know what's going on in there.
I mean, it's sliding, so that's coming out.
Oh, we got some things in there, some tubatures.
It's very strange looking.
Today, we find out if this puppy either hauls or stalls. I'm not toying with it anymore. It's as good as I think we're gonna get it, and it's astronomically better than it ever was. So, we spit shined her up a little bit. Steven gave her a nice little, ooh, puppy on it. Look at it. So, if she explodes on the way down the road, at least she looks good on her way into her demise. So Taylor and I are gonna go out. She's gonna hop on her pretty little thing, and yeah, let's see. I think she's gonna rip. Maybe we'll sell it if one of you guys want it. Hit me up. Let's see. Hopefully I don't get arrested. Well, ladies and gents, I do believe that we'll give the haul check mark on this one. She needs like a tiny little bit of this and that, probably just bust all the cobwebs out of there. But all in all, I would say this was a success. Bike fucking rips. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope everybody maybe learned something. I learned even a couple things along the way. And if you enjoyed it, click the subscribe button or give us a follow, write a comment. I don't care if it's negative, don't care anything, just give us some feedback. I gotta know if anybody enjoys it, you hate it, what have you. We're gonna go hop on this little horse and buggy over here ripping down the street, and we'll see you in the next one.